we are back here on the Senior Network, and we're having really an interesting conversation, and we're talking during the break, and we're like, no, stop, you can't talk now, we got to wait until we get on here, because everybody really does work together. And we were talking a bit about how the three of you work together, and I think I asked do you call Jim, or how does all that work?
I would have my clients call him. It's part of our care plan we make sure that they have at least some information, especially if we're seeing that people are more towards the end of life. We want to make sure that they can meet with him and have all the information that they need to make a good decision. Maybe when things are a little bit calmer. Does that
absolutely
suit you too?
Absolutely. It's so much easier. It's easier for me. I mean, I'm being selfish here. It's easier for me.
That's a good thing.
It is. Whenever someone comes in, like I said, nobody really wants to use my business. So I'd much rather sit and talk to them when they have a cup of coffee or a friend around or a family member or just when we can be a little bit more relaxed and make some decisions. Everybody has this idea that you're going to jump in when death occurs and overspend and make poor decisions, and some people do. But if you just make a couple basic decisions beforehand, you write down, you tell somebody what you want to do. Are you going to bury or cremate? If you're going to bury, what cemetery we're going to go to. Are we going to go to Beaufort National or Six Oaks, which is very nice? Are you going to go back home to Ohio? Those are things that people have to know when they come in. And it's just the simple things that makes things so much easier. So what I do is I get all the vital statistic information, things that people may not know off the top of their head.
For example?
Birthplace, mother's maiden name, that stumps everybody. Social security number, everybody seems to know. Sometimes with older people, they tend to debate about their birth year. Yeah. Everybody knows the date, but was it 1929, 1930? They go back and forth. But stuff like that, and then early, if we have some gaps in the information and we need to go find it, it gives everyone an opportunity to get it. Then when the time comes, it's just so much easier for everybody.
Here's the $50 question, literally, is how do I know how to budget for my death? I mean, I would have no idea if it's $50 or $500,000.
Well, funeral homes differ. And that being said, cremation is the least expensive, burial's the most, and there's a lot of stuff in between. I tell people, if you spend a bunch of money on your funeral, you are mad at your money or mad at your kids. Oh. There's so many ways to save money, and just be practical.
Is there a way that we can estimate or put money aside to, and again, are we talking about typically? I know I hate it when people do that. Typically, it's because that's not fair. But.
No, I mean, if you wanted to range for a cremation, by the time you add a bunch of stuff into it, you're anywhere from $2,700 to $3,500 maybe for a cremation if you want an urn or
can you
put something in paper. Yes, you can prepay. Yes, you can, and you certainly can prepay, and it's a good idea. A lot of the times, it's not always the best idea for all the time, but it's certainly, we do a lot of that, and it really helps people a lot, because when you prepay a funeral, it basically locks in that price. It doesn't matter. And I say it isn't like say it's $2,600 today and you give me $2,600. Well, if you die 10 years from now, it's going to be more than $2,600. As far as you're concerned, you only ever gave me $2,600. I put the money into an irrevocable insurance policy, and I use that interest to offset future inflation. So as far as you're concerned, if you live 10 years or 40 years, you've only ever paid that $2,600.
Do you find that as over time, like my parents in their 80s and 90s are different in what they want, let's say, than we are, or that our kids are, and what their expectations are?
Oh, absolutely. But things have changed. When I first got into this business in 90 or 91, the cremation rate was about 15% nationally. Right. This year, it's over 50% nationally, and like I said, Hilton Head is into the mid-80s. So people change, and also with the Catholic Church being a little bit more receptive to cremation, you see more and more old traditional Catholics opting for cremation because the church says it's okay now.
Well, Jim, and I see with celebrations of life and things like that, do you guys actually help plan that type stuff?
We help everything. Yeah. There are things that, if I don't know the family intimately, I don't pretend to. But I will point them in the right direction and give them some suggestions. And I've been doing this a long time. I've buried both of Joe Biden's parents. So, and I've done a couple people out of 9/11. So I've had a lot of experience with a lot of high profile, large type things, and just as many little tiny things that mean just as much to those families if there's 5 people there or 500. Sure.
Oh, I think it's exciting to even hear this. It's, again, it takes, I'm sitting here going, this sounds, when you said celebration of life, it shifts the whole point of view. From a case management or care management point of view, I would imagine that the way that you frame things to people makes a huge impact into how they relate to you.
Certainly. You know, one of the things we have learned over the years is you can't just come in there as a care manager and say, you have to do this, you have to do that. You're going to get people.
Pushback.
Yes, exactly. You have to approach it in a soft way, and we can't, in fact, demand that people do
Right. It's
this,
not
that.
against the law
Yes.
to want to isolate yourself.
Exactly. You can't, you know, unless we see something that's egregious. You know, we have to allow people to live their lives in certain ways. They've asked us for our help. We have given them some suggestions, and most of the time they do want to follow through with what we're saying, because they are at a loss at what to do. And we know we have to make sure that we know the resources in the area.
That was just what I was going to ask you then. Do you come with a list of resources, then they can kind of pick and choose, but at the end of the day, can you act as their sort of overarching counsel, for lack of a better word, advisor?
Yes, and we do. We provide guidance, and we, at the same time, though, we want to give them choices.
Okay.
You know, most of the time, we want to give choices.
And I think that's what I'm hearing from everyone, from all, everyone who's been here
Working
on
together,
both panels, working
because
together,
these folks are
collaborative.
overwhelmed when they get in these decisions. They really
Well,
are.
I tell you what, there's, again, the more we know, the more questions we have. So the Senior Network, we're really excited to be able to present this forum for all of you. And have a great week. We'll see you next